A very good morning and a warm welcome to all our super dads and students and Principal Sir, Mr. Gio Varghese, and all the teachers present here today for the leadership lecture series of this session. I'm Amruta Karandikar and I extend a heartfelt welcome on behalf of the whole GIIS family. We have gathered on this virtual platform on the eve of Father's Day to celebrate fatherhood. Let's start our event with the school prayer.
Father, we thank thee for the night. Father, we thank thee for the night and for the pleasant morning light, for rest and food and loving care, and all that makes our life so fair. Help us to do the things we should, to be to others kind and good, in all we do and all we say, to grow more loving every day, to grow more loving every day, to grow more loving every day.
We celebrated Father's Day at GIIS yesterday. Here are a few glimpses of how much our children enjoyed and appreciated them with their fathers and created some cherishable moments.
He doesn't fight crime or wear a cape. He doesn't read minds or levitate. But every time my world needs saving, he's my Superman. Some folks don't believe in heroes 'cause they haven't met my dad. He loves his workshop and rock and roll. He's got a hot rod and a heart of gold. And you could say he's a man of few words, but he talks a lot within. And even though I'm a little taller, I still look up to him. He built me a house in the arms of a tree. He taught me to drive and to fight and to dream. When he looks in my eyes, I hope he can see that my dad's a hero to me. Rust-ridden fenders and doors full of dings. Somehow he can fix about anything. I didn't think he knew how to cry till our dog died that year. He doesn't always say I love you, but I can hear him loud and clear. He built me a house in the arms of a tree. He taught me to drive and to fight and to dream. When he looks in my eyes, I hope he can see that my dad's a hero to me. to fight and to dream. When he looks in my eyes, I hope he can see that my dad's a hero to me. My dad's a hero to me. My dad's a hero to me.
So kudos to all the fathers who participated so willingly yesterday. It is said that a mother brings a child to the world, whereas a father brings the world to the child. A mother protects the child from the world, whereas a father exposes him to the world. So on this note, let me introduce you to the Honorable Speaker of the Day, Mr. Gio Verghese. Mr. Verghese is an engineer and a business administrator by education, a youth and family counselor by preoccupation, a businessman by profession, a leadership trainer by passion, and a writer and lyricist by obsession. He is a father to 4 daughters and husband of Chinchu. He loves to spend time with people of all ages. So, Mr. Verghese is indeed a multifaceted personality, isn't it? Now, I would request our respected and dear Principal Sir, the calm and composed Mr. Cesar de Silva, to grace the occasion with his inaugural address.
Happy morning and a warm welcome to all of you to this wonderful day today. I always believe that the fatherhood is a gift. In fact, it is a blessing and a grace of the Lord Almighty. This morning we started a prayer, a school prayer, which also talks about Father. Father, we love you. You know, it's a wonderful, correlation between the heavenly Father and the earthly Father. As the heavenly Father protects the entire universe, we have the earthly responsibility on us fathers to look after our family. But at GIS, we don't stop with that responsibility or that duty, of the father. To me, I believe that fatherhood basically is an equal responsibility, just like mother, to look after the children with love, care. And yesterday, what we saw, some of the glimpses are absolutely amazing. I really want to applaud our fathers of GIS who spend those beautiful moments with their children. I wish it doesn't happen only on Father's Day. I wish it becomes a practice forever. And therefore, I would ask all the fathers, whenever you get upset or annoyed with your child, please remember the day you thought about having a child, the day you took that tender little child from the nurse into your hands, and so excited you were to be gifted as a gift of, as a grace of fatherhood. So, my dear friends, please welcome Gio Verghese, one of our wonderful person who has collaborated with us in the past as well. This is the second time we are welcoming Gio Verghese, one of the motivation factor whom we are always cherished his words. Gio Verghese, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let me tell you, at GIS, it's a family. And we always believe that father becomes a role model to all of us. Indeed, he is a superhero. So let's go ahead, over to you, Gio Verghese. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, sir, for your encouraging words. I would like to mention here that if anyone wishes to ask questions, you may post it in the Q&A section. We will take up some questions at the end of the session. Yes, Mr. Verghese, we are waiting for your much-awaited session on the basic of the back to the basics, parenting in the disrupted world. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yes,
Can you hear
sir.
me?
So
Yes.
please change the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, can I begin?
Yes, Mr. George, you are audible and visible too.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for that inaugural address and that welcome that you gave me. And also for this opportunity, Principal Cesar De Silva and all the office bearers who are hosting today's talk, and all the parents who have joined in from the Global Indian International School fraternity. Thank you. Thank you for choosing to be on this webinar today morning. And I believe it will be a time of refreshing for all of you. I want to thank you once again for this opportunity, sir. And I would straight away like to jump into what you have asked me to talk today morning. It was so enlightening and heartening to see the video of the celebration of the kids with their dads from yesterday. And it felt like, why am I even talking today? They are already doing such a good job. But like Principal Sir said, sometimes, we wait for days and events for such bonding to happen. And then we go back, slip back to our routines. And perhaps that is something we should be a little more careful about. And that's why I will address some very key things. Some of these things which I'll tell you are things we already know. Probably most of the things I'll tell you today morning are things we already know, but you can consider it as a gentle reminder. And my intention here is that we all become the best that we can be as parents and especially as fathers. Um, we are living in a time where our entire world has been disrupted by the pandemic. But I will not go into the typical stories that have emerged from the pandemic because enough has been said, enough has been written, enough has been heard, enough has been seen about the pandemic. And because so much has been already spoken about it, I will not go per se into the pandemic and its effects. I would love to look beyond it. I would love to look into what it has done and how we can respond to it now. It's already happened. So, what can we learn out of it and move ahead? Once again, since the topic is parenting, I will address a lot of issues of the parents, but because it's on the eve of Father's Day, my focus will be on the fathers today when I'm talking to you. But I will not forget the new realities that are emerging because of the pandemic. So, thank you once again for joining in. My plan today is to talk to you about some very simple, basic things which we already know. Now, you may ask, why, sir? Why you only want to talk to us about the very very basic things? Why do you don't want to tell us something more? I don't want to flood you with a lot of new information, and there are some basic reasons why I'm doing that. So, if you ask me why, sir, basic, then the first thing that I want to tell you is that the basic reason why I want to just go back to the basics is because our life has been hit by too many disruptions. In the last about 15 months, we have taken hits in our routines, in our jobs, in our businesses, in our schools, in our systems and processes, in our travels, in our socializing, events and celebrations, plans, careers, relationships, friendships, strategies. Everything has taken a hit. There has been too many disruptions in our lives. And as you must have seen in the previous slide that came before you, you must be looking at Virat Kohli, who's just got clean bowled. Now, why I put that picture there is because um, since the World Test Championship is going on, it's only apt, and we are a nation that ardently follows cricket and loves cricket. So, talking about cricket is very, very natural for us. There's a lesson there from cricket. When a batsman usually goes out of form, Regularly he comes and he's only having low scores. He's not able to middle the ball. He's very, very evidently out of form. You know what the coach tells him? The coach tells him, just stick to the basics. When you're not able to middle the ball, don't try to do anything spectacular. Don't try to do anything swashbuckling. Just stick to the basic rules of cricket till you find your form. Extending one more example in cricket, suppose the batting side is doing well. Now, suddenly the bowling side would want to bring their strike bowler to take wickets. So, even if both the batsmen are playing very well, I am sure one of the conversations they will have in the center of the field is that stick to the basics, don't try too many things. So, when there is a formidable opponent, or when you are out of form, or when your entire world is shaken up badly, it makes sense to stick to the basics. But there are two more reasons why I'm going to just talk about very simple things to you about parenting today. Is because the pandemic is not over yet. We are still not out of it. They say that there is probably going to be a third wave. So we've just come out of the second wave. We are going into the third wave. Everything is in a state of flux. Things have not settled down. So it is not wise to quickly decide on how things will be. We are still learning. We're still understanding what's happening. So because of that uncertainty and that lack of clarity, I would prefer to stick with the basics because those are the things that usually do not change too much. And then one more reason why I want to stick to the basics is because all of us are going through different scenarios in our households. While you're listening to me today morning, some of you might have already gone through the loss of a dear one in your family or close relatives. Some of you might have lost your jobs, might have had a tough time because of business losses or because financial losses due to hospitalization or some other reason. Or it could be that you are grappling with a health issue right now. So different houses, different families are having different scenarios. Obviously, that is the case usually, but this is a more grave situation. So what binds us all together, what keeps us all on the same platform is the basics. So that's why I would like to stick to the basics while I'm talking to you today morning. Now, I referred to cricket, but I would like to talk about business because we are in Gujarat, and if we don't talk about business, we have not finished the talk. And business makes a great sense to all of us. And I think it is very wise in a situation like this to look at the business world and find out how they are responding. And if we watch them closely, there are some insights we can take from the business world. Why I take the business world very seriously is because they are very sincere in their response because they are not just talking, they are putting their money where their mouth is. So they are very, very committed to each and very calculated about each step they take. So their response is very calculated, is based on a lot of thought, and there is definitely a lot to draw from it in every sphere of life. So is there anything for parenting from the business world? I think there is. What the business world is doing is that it is because of this pandemic disruption around the world, because markets have been hit around the world, they have gone back to the basics. They've gone back to the very simple things of existing as a company. And when they went back to the basics and looked back at what is happening on the ground, they found some very interesting things. I want to share with you a couple of observations they made during their study of what's happening to the pandemic world. Now, for example, here I have cited two conclusions that they came to. This is something that came in the Harvard Business Review, and it is a global phenomenon. What they found out that before the pandemic, every company was competing with its competitor. But post the pandemic, there is a shift. Now they are not competing with competitors, they are competing with the customer's last best experience. So, what is the last good experience a customer had? Your competition is with that experience, it's not with some competitor out there. The second observation I have cited here is that customers earlier used to hope, they used to hope that you have what they want. But in the last 1.5 to 2 years, what has changed is that customers expect you to know exactly what they want. That's a paradigm shift. So what companies are doing, companies know that customer is the king. So they have massively realigned their strategies to include these two and many more such observations. So based on these two observations, I'm just drawing what they are going to do. What they're going to do is they're going to make sure that their customers have a better experience than they had before, and they're going to keep improving on it. And number two, uh, they are going to find out what the customer needs, and they will cater that to them. So they're changing the way things are delivered. The basics are still the same, but they're going to do it in a different way. Now you may think that, sir, fine, that's very good, that's a good input for my business, but what has it to do for my parenting? Now what is it to do for my parenting is that there are lessons for parents here. Now why I am taking some lessons from there is because, number one, children are like customers. What customers are to business, our children are to us. Now, you may take offense at that. Okay, come on, what are you saying? My children are customers. They are not my customers. They're much more. And I agree, they're much more. But one of the ways in which you can understand them better is to start looking at them as a customer. So that's probably a very good insight you will get, and that will help you to align what I just said about the business world. So if you are bothered about your children as you are about your customer, you will make sure that they have a better experience, and you will make sure that you know what is it that they exactly want. Now, a few more things I want to say there. Like, customers decide how good a company is or how good a product is. Your children will evaluate and adjudicate how your parenting is. You may say that I am very good at my parenting, I'm a good father, I'm a good mother, I'm doing all that I can. But ultimately, what you say about it doesn't matter. How your parenting is will be judged by how your children evaluate it. So, in that terms, also, it is good to understand the insights that I am telling you from the business world. And the third thing I want to say there is that when the companies are actually now changing their strategies and they're now going to hit their customers in a much more focused way, we should not forget that our children are also their customers. Our children are spending a lot of time on YouTube, Instagram, WhatsApp, Pinterest, TikTok, and casino games, and I don't know what all. I can't even name them. Our kids are there. And these companies will reach out to these kids and they will cater to them a very good experience, and they will also give them exactly what they want. So when the companies will do that, it should not happen that parents have missed out on doing it. And when you miss out on doing it, they may end up having greater influence on your kids than you have. So, keeping these things in mind, I want to appeal to you, parents, and especially fathers who are listening to me right now, to take lead, to step forward, step into the roles, and make sure that you have the greatest influence on them in this post pandemic world. Now, let me tell you some of the basics that I want to take your attention to. I hope you are with me so far. So, I told about why I am talking about the basics and some of the insights I took from the business world to make you understand that why it is important to go back to the basics and how we should tweak some of the ways in which we do our parenting. So now let's look at the basics. What is this basics that I'm talking about? Now, usually when we mess up on things, when we make a mistake, or when we don't understand how to go about things, we are usually looking for some excuses. And suppose it's happening in parenting, then we try to find out the reason. Usually try to ascribe it to, my spouse's family is like this, his her father is like this, his mother is like this, and we try to ascribe it to the family and their side and their DNA and stuff like that. Or what we'll do is we'll say that, yeah, the circumstances were so bad, I was totally helpless. Or you will say that these children, no, they are at fault. So we usually like to slip away by saying that somebody else is at fault. And usually that may be the easiest way out of your situation, but that is not the wisest way. So just like cricketers and just like marketers, I think we should go back to the basics. Now, I've talked enough about basics. Let me tell you what are the basics. I just have two things there. You can see it right now on the screen. I think there are just two things needed in parenting. And if you can take care of these two, what are those two? Children should feel loved and children should feel safe. If you can cater to these two things, even if you goof up, mess up on the rest of the things, and if you have done these two things well, your children will come back to you after many years. They will be gracious to you, and they will tag you as a good parent. Now, you may feel that you didn't do so well, but just because you loved them and you helped them to feel safe and loved, you will have done your job very well. I think these two things are the very basic things I want to drive into your minds. Now, fathers, don't be put off. These two things are areas where, for example, the first one, children should feel loved. That is an area where parents, fathers are underperforming. Children should feel loved, fathers are underperforming. And children should feel safe. That is where fathers are overperforming. So, when I'm talking to you today morning, think of it in the perspective of how you can balance this. Now, mind you, what I have said there is that children should feel loved. I'm not saying that you should love. I'm not saying that you should make them safe. I'm saying that they should feel it. So, what you feel about it, it's not important. How the children feel about how you are leading the family is going to be very, very crucial. So, let me go into the next point. Let's look at the first basic thing. Children should feel loved. Now, many of you will say, of course, I know the answer to that. I know how I should love my child and how my child should feel loved. Of course, you know it, but I will still take the liberty to tell you a few things. Now, when I say they should feel loved, I think it means two important things. Children will feel loved when you get involved with them. And number two, children will feel loved when you express your love for them. Okay, fathers, I'm talking to you. Children will feel loved when you get involved with them, and children will feel love when you express your love to them. I'll take both these points. Now, this pandemic gave us a very wonderful opportunity to spend days and weeks together with our children. So we were locked up inside our houses. We couldn't go out anywhere. 24/7, we were with our family. And we will think that, this pandemic definitely gave me a lot of brownie points on this thing. I have spent a lot of time with my kids. But spending time in a room or a house with them and being involved with them are two different things. You cannot say that I spend time at home and therefore I'm spending time with my children. No. Being involved with kids means something totally different. Now, sadly, I have observed for many fathers, children are just a byproduct of their marriage. They are more busy becoming bigger in their businesses, making a name for themselves, going out there and achieving things, making a name in the world. All these things are good. I think everybody should aspire. Ambition is a good thing. But if it is coming at the cost of not being able to spend time with your kids, not being able to be involved with them, what is the use of a big name? What is the use of a big business? If you have alienated yourself, or if you have not involved yourself with your kids as much, what is the use of all this hard work? If you ask these parents who are really very, very busy all the time, they will say how good a parent they are. But what they say doesn't matter. What do their kids say about how good a parent they are is what matters. And if the kids are saying, yes, my daddy is doing a good job, then you are smart and you're doing good, and continue doing whatever you're doing. But let me tell you, involving yourself and taking interest in your kids, especially if you are a busy person, is a very, very difficult thing to do. Why? Why do I say that? So, the first, if you are noticing things, I've put in the red color. The reason why involving it with the kids is difficult is because uh, the things that interest them are of no interest to us. Let me take my example. When I try to take interest, I have 4 daughters. When I take interest in their lives, they are at the first opportunity talking to me about K-pop. I don't know whether you know about it. They're telling me about K-pop, and there is this band called BTS, and they're telling me they're Korean bands, and they're telling me about these Korean guys, and they start talking to me. I'm trying to involve with my kids. I'm trying to get involved and take interest in their lives, and they are telling me about this Korean K-pop band, and I have no interest in them. So the entire conversation looks like a waste of time for me. But uh, if I am really interested and want to get involved with my kids, I cannot avoid this. If I had a superpower, I would erase their memory of K-pop and BTS. But that's not how it works. So what I do is I sit and watch K-pop with them. I even memorize the names of the entire 7 band members, and I listen to them tell me about who is doing what. So it is a very uninteresting process. And number two, if you're a busy dad, you will find that getting involved with your kids and taking interest in their lives also means you will have to sacrifice a lot of things, important things that you desire to do, want to do, you should do. You may have to keep that aside. Why? Because kids, the moment you take interest in their lives, they want so much of your time. They have so much to say, they have so much to do, and you will discover that you need to set apart a big chunk of time. Just putting your head in 2 minutes, ask something and go is not involvement, is not interest. But if you are able to do these two things, they will certainly feel very, very loved. Now, there are so many things we can keep on saying in this, but I would like to give you some suggestions. What I do. How do I get involved with my children? How do I take interest in their lives? What I do is 3 simple things, and I've written that down in that green color if you can see that on the screen. I make an intentional effort to come back home early because there is no control on my morning schedule. And morning is they're also busy in their school. So evenings, I make an intentional effort to come back home. Now, why that is important is because we working men are more susceptible to get more and more delayed at work because there is so much we can keep on doing at work. So we tend to keep pushing our time back. But I make an intentional effort telling myself 2 things. One is that I'm going home. This work that I am doing is what I'm doing for a living. But when will I live? My work is for a living, but now I want to live. And where do I live? I live with my family. I live with my kids. I'm going home because now I want to live. And the second thing I tell myself is that kids are only young once. They are growing every day. And very soon they are going to reach a stage where they will want to spend more time with their peers and with their friends. They may not enjoy my company. So as long as I can engage with them, I should. And therefore, I come back home early. I suggest you come back home early, take some time, 15 minutes, half an hour to unwind. Every man needs some time to unwind. So you need to get into that space where you're thinking nothing. Look at the wall, look at talk to your wife, or spend some 15-20 minutes to just get out of your office and then get ready to engage with your kids. Now, try this at least 4 to 5 times in a week. I am trying to do this almost 7 days of a week. Sometimes I do fail to do it, but at least 5 to 6 times I am doing this. I come home early intentionally. Number two that I do is I have developed a dinner ritual. So around the table, we all sit together and we are talking. It is a very great bonding time. I would suggest you can do, if you can do it for breakfast, if you can do it for lunch, if you can do it for snack time, do it. As much time you spend at the table is going to be a great time of gelling and getting interested. Now, what happens on the dinner table is if you have more than one kid, they hijack the conversation and they will take that conversation in all directions. And that's what initially it used to happen. I sit with my kids and they're talking about n number of things and the conversation is going everywhere. In fact, they were even getting married and having kids and all that. So I decided that no, the conversation cannot go like this. And I came up with this somewhere. I read about this and I thought this is a good idea and I implemented it. So what I now do at the dinner table is we have what is called a lead talk. You must have heard about the TED Talk, TED Talk. Very similar to that is the LED Talk, LED. So what I ask my kids at the dinner table while we are having dinner is, you tell me, what did you learn today? So L stands for what did you learn today? E stands for what did you enjoy today? And D stands for what will you do better tomorrow? Okay, I hope you got that. What did you learn today? What did you enjoy today? And what will you do better tomorrow? And because there are four of them, and even I have to say it, and my wife also has to say it. So we start telling about, what we learned today and what we enjoyed today and what we messed up today and we want to better it next time. The conversation just blooms. And initially they were hesitant, but uh, because I'm taking interest in their lives, I'm wanting to know what they're enjoying, what they're liking, and what they're doing most of the day. They started feeling loved. And because I'm listening to them, they started feeling respected too. And I was really surprised at the answers that I started getting on the conversation. I started getting insights into how they think. I started getting insights into how they perceive things, how they perceive life, how they perceive situations. I started getting insights into what they prioritize. What are their priorities in a day? What is the direction that their life is taking? And another thing I observed is that when I started asking these questions, they went about their day looking for these answers. So they had to think about their day. They were grateful about their day. They were able to integrate what was happening in their life and they were able to understand the life better. And also, I thought that because they were integrating things and they were looking for what to learn, what to enjoy, what to make better, they were sharpening themselves up over the days. So, in a way, just by asking them three questions, having a simple conversation and bonding with them, I was also preparing them for life and for the world out there. Once I've heard their inputs, it's easy for me to give them my inputs that, okay, why don't you try this? So, because they feel loved now, they feel respected, they feel that they have been heard, now they're ready to listen to me. So I found that this one solution had so much to give to us. So the dinner time talk. But if some of you still cannot control your dinner time talk, you can have a sleep time talk or a sleep ritual, putting them to sleep. You can ask the same questions when you're putting them to sleep. And I feel it's so important that when your child goes off to sleep, the last thing they hear is your concern for them and your love for them and your involvement with them. And when they go off to sleep like that, they have a good sleep and they wake up the next day refreshed and confident. So there are so many good things if you get interested and involved in their lives, and they will really feel loved. What else you can do? Fathers, one is take time to get interested and involved in their lives, and you will let them feel loved. But you also have to learn a new skill. Now, fathers are very bad at this. Mothers are outscoring us since centuries on this next point that I'm going to tell you, that we will have to learn to tell and show them that we love them. Of course, looking at some of those slides, I felt that some of the fathers are really way ahead. But in our Indian culture, we have this thing in our mind that fathers have to be macho fathers, Um, we have to project this image where we are very strong and we don't break down easily, and we are so resistant to a lot of changes around us. So whether it is a boy or a girl child that they have, the father absolutely becomes like a stone, and what I have observed very, very strangely is that when the kids enter adolescence, teenage, many fathers stop touching their children. They don't touch them anymore. Especially girls, no. She's growing up. She's a growing up lady, so I will not touch her. And that is such a shock for the kids. They may not even know it. They may not even express it. But I think that is one of the biggest mistakes that fathers make. They suddenly suspend physical touch because the children are now teenagers. Gone are the days of the macho father. I make sure that I am touching my girls. Why? Because as soon as they enter teenage, their love tank is becoming huge. They need a lot of love because they are going through a lot of crisis. It's called the teenage crisis. They have an identity crisis. Their mind is still of a child, but their body is growing at a fast rate. They are realizing and uh, coming to know of the realities of this world. So they are in a state of flux. That's the time they need most love. I make sure that I'm touching them. Also, when I keep touching my girls, I hold them, I hug them, I sit with them, and I sit very tight with them. When a strange boy touches them, it will not be such a exciting thing anymore, So I make sure that I'm touching my girls very much. And fathers, I think this is one area. And even if it is boys, keep expressing you love them. I know it, and you do all you can. Especially unlike the Western culture, in Indian culture, our life starts revolving around our kids. You're doing it, but I think you need to be a little more expressive in telling it to them. Use, if you are not able to tell them directly, use WhatsApp, use all the social media that you are on, and convey it to them that you really love them. And when you do that, I will not exaggerate, it has a great calming effect on our kids. It calms them down, it makes them more confident, it makes them strong from the inside. But when you love them, I would just like to put a caveat. Do not spoil them with your love. Now, in our over enthusiasm, in our zeal to show all that love, sometimes we may indulge them in too much of stuff. We may get them a Xbox, an iPad, and whatever they ask, we give them in a way that keeps them busy also, and we have time to do our stuff. Many times we do that for that, but that overindulgence because of love can actually spoil them. Sometimes you can become very lenient on them. It's okay, yaar. It's okay if you don't study, or if you have this problem or that problem. If you are unfair in your rules that you set out for them, leniency is going to spoil them. If you lower your expectations, then it's okay. If you get 50% also, it's okay. Your father didn't, but now he is a big man, you can also become big man. Don't do that. That can actually spoil them. The third thing and fourth thing is, sometimes we can become very overprotective of them, and we can sometimes end up being there to fight for our kids in front of teachers, in front of principal, and we think that it's our love for the kid that we are showing. But what you are doing unknowingly is you are putting down other authorities in their life. Teacher is another authority who has a great influence on your child. Principal of the school has a great authority who has a great influence on the child. When you go and fight with them, you undermine their authority. You are only spoiling your child. So we should be careful how much we love them, but love them enough. No amount of love, true love, right love, correct kind of love, wise love is enough for your child. So love them in a way that your child feels loved. Let me go to the next one. So that's about how to make your child feel loved. The next one I want to say is to help your child feel safe. Now, you may say, oh, that we are doing. In this pandemic world, we have done enough. We have secured our perimeter. We have, sanitized and we have put a lot of security gadgets, CCTV stuff. We have done a lot of things. And our children are now safe. Yes, they are physically safe. They are physically safe. They're safe from the dangers out there lurking in the world. But do they feel safe? Do they really feel safe? Now, let me ask you a couple of questions that will give you the answer to that. Can your child come to you when he has made a mistake? Does he feel safe about the way you discipline your child? Or when your child doesn't meet your expectations, how do you respond? Do they confide in you their secrets, or do you learn it from other people? See, if these things have an answer, no, they do not confide. They don't probably feel safe about my disciplining methods, or they don't feel very good when they've made a mistake and they don't come to me. If the answer is no, the answer means that they don't feel safe with you. What you need to do is, I have just 2 points there to tell you. You know they are safe when they know that you, not your home, not their room, they know that you are their safe haven. You are their safe place. And this is one area where parents do, but fathers especially royally mess up. And by the way they respond and react, sometimes they do so much of damage, emotional damage to the kids, that they don't even realize. So let me deal with the 2 things that I spoke about here: mistakes and failures. When your child makes a mistake, how do you respond? Of course, you will say that it all depends on the kind of mistake they make, and then I will decide how to respond. True. But is the first response that comes to your mind, is it the word punish? Do you lose control over your emotions? Do you lose control over your words? Do you lose your temper? Do you get agitated? Do you get pushed? You stand up and you're pushed to the edge of violence. Is that happening to you? Do you do all this? Then probably you need to listen to what I'm going to say next. Tell me, what is the purpose of parenting? What is the purpose of parenting? Why are we doing all this for our kids? I've listed there the purpose of parenting, a list of things that I could think about, and there may be more things. We want our kids to be excellent and successful. We want our kids to be productive. We want them to be responsible. We want them to be independent. We want them to be respectful. We want them to enjoy relationships. We want them to be caring and compassionate. We want them to be healthy, happy, and live fulfilling lives. This is why we are parents, and they are our children, and we are trying to do this. But if the first response you have for them is punishing them, spanking them, telling them words that hurt them, intimidate them, creates a dread inside of them, how will you accomplish your parenting goals? By doing all these negative things. You have to remember that the best way of helping them overcome a mistake is to walk with them and show them how to do it. And Principal mentioned a little earlier about how fathers can be role models. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that the current generation has made is that they aren't matching up to the expectations themselves, which they expect the kid to match up to. I mean, they want the kids to be certain things, but they themselves are not matching up to that. Now, that's a grave mistake. Remember, our kids are born with 100 billion brain cells, and these brain cells are not so well connected. The experiences we will give them in our house, the experiences they will have with us, will determine how they will connect. The brain cells will connect and how they will respond in the future. So, if it is affirmative, if it is positive, your children will also pass it on in their behavior. But if it is negative and if it is putting them down, the connections are going to form like that. And that's the pattern that they will show forward. And punishments usually are very difficult to be justified as positive. A punishment, unless you have talked to them earlier, you've given them enough chances, you have set the limits, and then if you punish them, it makes a little more justified. But without that, it can backfire. So I would suggest that if kids are making mistakes, you should try alternative methods of dealing with them. You should try praising them. You should try encouraging them to do things in a more civil way or a more efficient way. So you can look at that instead of going wild and throwing up a tantrum like a kid. By responding and reacting like that, if you do like that, your child will not feel safe at home. The second thing I want to talk about there is about failures. How about failures? When they don't meet your expectations, when they fail in their exams, when they don't do well in competitions you push them into, how do you respond to it? Uh, do you put them down by saying that, see, I did so much, I expected so much? Do you expose their weaknesses? Do you tell them all the good you did for them and how they have let you down? Do you break their spirit? Or do you prepare them to go and try again? No. If you want them to feel safe, you will have to relook your methods and your approach. If you don't, someone else will. The marketers are already doing a good job at them. So wake up from your slumber, wake up from your false self-confidence, and make sure that your children feel safe with you, not in your home, but with you. And fathers, one more thing I want to say is that your children will feel safe when you love the other parent, that is, when you love their mother. Think of a home where both the spouses are always raining complaints about each other. Now, often I've seen this in Indian homes: father complaining about mother, mother complaining about father, and children are audience. They're listening to all this. Now, often it may be for the right reasons. Your father may be a drunkard, a father may be a bad fellow, or a mother may be a certain type of a mother. But for the right reasons also, when you keep ranting like this in your house, for your child, both parents are important, and for your child, both of them make up his home. So when such a thing is happening inside his home, his house is shaken up, his world is shaken up, and he does not feel safe. Now think about the complaints turning into arguments, arguments becoming conflicts, conflicts turning bad and becoming violent, going to the edge of separation, divorce. It messes up their understanding of safety. They don't feel safe at all, and they have all kinds of mental health issues. On the other hand, if you love his mother or her mother, if both of you are deeply in love with each other, you're caring for each other, you're working as a team, they see that you are having fun together, you go out together, you spend time together, it will be seen as a very healthy and safe environment for your kids. So if you want to make them feel safe, you should make your marriage stronger, and you should do that immediately. And you will see how your parenting perception improves. Now, there are so many more things that I can tell you, so many more tips that I can give. But I feel that these two things, that if your children feel loved and if your children feel safe, if you are able to do this, you will have traveled a long way in successful parenting. And your kids are more likely to be grateful for what you have done and who you have been. So with that, I would like to just close. I know that I haven't given you too many terms and too many informations there. I just have left you with two things. Let your children feel loved, let your children feel safe. And as I said in the beginning, in these times when we do not have too much of clues because of the disruptions, we do not know what to do in this turmoil around you. If you can just stick with these two things, we would have had enough equipment to go through this tough season. And when we have gone through it, we will see that it reaps great benefits. The best part of parenting is that it reaps great rewards. But the bad part of parenting is that time of getting that reward takes a long time and a lot of hard work. Somebody said this about a parent. This is the job description of a parent. That this is a job of a parent. High pressure situations at any given notice, continual and almost unbearable stress, no credit ever given, and you will have to manage difficult personalities and strained communication no matter how hard you try. This is a job description of a parent, and this is so true. But still, parenting is so rewarding, not just in the long run. I feel even in the little things that happen as we spend time with our kids, when we love them, when we talk to them, when we help them, nurture them, bring them up, and mold them to be better citizens, to be better people, better husbands, better friends. I think that's one of the happiest things that we can be indulging in our lifetime. So there are so many little joys that we can be a part of. At the outset, as a closing word, this is what I would like to end with, saying a few things about fathers there. What is a father? A mender of toys, a leader of boys, a changer of fuses and a kisser of bruises, a mover of couches and a soother of ouches, pounder of nails and a teller of tales, hanger of screens and a guide for teens, fixer of bikes and a chastiser of tykes. Tykes are the tantrum kids, fixer of bikes and a chastiser of tykes, raker of leaves, this dried leaves which are, they rake to the sides, and a cleaner of eaves. Eaves are those shades that are overhanging and need frequent cleaning. So raker of leaves and cleaner of eaves, dryer of dishes, fulfiller of wishes. Oh, bless him, dear Lord. So with that closing word, and wishing you all fathers a very happy Father's Day, I would like to close my words. Thank you. I hope it has been a good time for all of you. God bless you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. What a way to close the session. What a fantastic poem that was. Actually, I have numerous takeaways from this session, but the best one is I'm going to follow. That is the lead talk at the dining table. We do talk with our kids, but the unique way you decided, learn, what did you learn? What did you enjoy? What will you do for a better tomorrow? That was really commendable. I'm sure we all have got much in, it was a very enriching session, and we all have got our takeaways. Thank you so much, sir, once again for your insights. Now we'll go to the Q&A section, and we have a couple of questions, sir. So the first question is, how do we change or see a difference in perception? As you rightly said, it's a perceived element of the basics. So why I say this is like genuine perception is tough to measure. So how do we change the perception? That's the first question.
Perception of?
To perceive any element of the basic element, whichever you mentioned, the basics of the elements. So from there, how to change the perception? That's the first question by one of our parents.
I still
and how to measure the genuine perception? That is what his question is.
So I mean the perception of the kids or
kids.
Perception of parent?
Yeah. Yes, kids.
Yeah.
Kids.
So I mean, so that comes because see, they are kids. They are only learning how to communicate and tell you their perceptions. They may not get the right words. They may not articulate it well. So observing them and listening to them and asking them questions in different ways, sometimes indirect ways, is a way of understanding how your kid is. Now, I told you that when I ask them questions about what they enjoyed the most in their lives. Uh, the first day, I got a very simple question, simple answer. But over the next few days, I started observing patterns. Okay, so then I asked them counter questions. Let's see, every day you are saying that you enjoyed this, you enjoyed this. Don't you enjoy something else? Aren't you doing the same things every day? Can you look at some more things to enjoy in life? You understand? So there are conclusions you can draw once you start talking to them. There are no mantras. Every child is unique, and every child has a different way of perceiving. So you and thank God you are the parents. So half the DNA is coming from you, and you have a good teamwork with your wife. If both of you can work together, then you can very well guess. Sometimes you can even uh, guess before they say it or do it, that how they're going to behave or how they're going to perceive. So it's a process through which you come to know it. There are no thumb rules. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Moving to our next question. What are the ways to discipline the children without being stern with them?
No, I think that's the wrong way to put it. You have to be stern. You cannot be not stern. You have to be stern, because unless authorities are stern, if the principal is not stern, how will the school be disciplined? If the teacher is not stern in the class, if the policeman is not stern on the traffic signal, so sternness is there, but sternness should be there. But how you implement and apply that sternness? Sometimes we don't have the patience to remain stern. When we have told them that don't do this and they repeat it again, then after a couple of times, because we know that we are the legal authorities over them and we can take some liberties, sometimes that sternness goes into verbal abuse and sometimes physical abuse. Now that is dangerous, especially in today's world. There was a time when this could be endured, but in a world where laws are against them, against such actions, and children are much more aware, and when we have been more educated and we know different ways of dealing with kids, I think you should. There are so many resources on the web where you can find out of different ways of disciplining your child. I said a few things here. A distraction could be a way, praising them could be a way, giving them alternative methods of doing things. For example, if your elder child is beating your younger child, so instead of telling them don't beat her, you can tell that, see, it is okay to be hurt by what she does, but you can tell that to me, or you can even tell that to her, but beating is not allowed. So there are alternative ways of asking your child to behave more civilized way. So you will have to find out, but sternness is required. You have to be consistent and you have to be stern. Yeah, I can't hear you, you're muted.
One more question is how to overcome the jealousy the kids may have for their sibling in regards to parents' love.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes we parents are not conscious about it, but we unknowingly tend to show up a little unfairness in our dealings with our kids. But if you really ask each parent, each child is the same for them, but yet they know that this child is weak in a certain area, or certain area. And sometimes you may do it intentionally. So be fair in the way you treat them. If you get something, if you get dresses only for one child, if you only take her out all the time or him out all the time, the other will obviously feel jealous. So make sure that from your end, whatever you are giving is equal and appropriate and apportioned. I think from your end only you will have to control it and talk to them and let them know that how they are also special. Yeah, you're muted.
Yes, sir. The last question is how to tackle an argument situation with kids, especially when they are very reluctant to understand you.
So time off, to give a time off. Ask them to just go and take a half an hour break, go back, think about it, write it down, come back, and let's do the argument once again. Usually that helps, because in an argument, what happens is sometimes they don't know what to argue about, or they don't have the right points to argue it. So then they become agitated, they become emotional, then they become physical. So sometimes what you are arguing about and what is happening has no relevance. So taking a time off, breaking them apart, let the emotions settle down, let them come back with the valid reasons, and then let them put it forward. And then as a parent, you play a very good adjudicator. You learn through the process. I think calling off will be the best idea.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Now I request our headmistress, the vibrant Miss Ruchika Dhingra, to extend word of thanks to sir. Ruchika ma, yes.
Yes, so happy morning and good morning, Mr. Gio Vargas. Welcome. And really very thankful for such a insightful sessions. Although we are parents here, we are trying the best, to do a lot of things. But takeaways are always very important to have, the non-stop learning as a parenting, because it's a really a challenging thing to have, being a parent and how to overcome these challenges. And it's a daily, I think it's a daily routine for all of us, whether it's a father or whether it's a mother, both the parents, some or the other day, they are facing these challenges. And a lot of takeaways, like first, what was, I was really attracted is like a business, how we take care, certain things in our job, in our business. So same thing that, we should apply at home. We are always thinking about increasing our strategies for business, and so it's the same thing we can apply. That parents, I mean children are our customers, how to judge them, how to give them the best so that they are satisfied and happy customers. So that was my first takeaway. And a lot of people, I'm sure, that LED, I never thought that it's an LED light, but it's an LED. Learn, enjoy, and do. And do is the best thing, because it will develop the confidence for children, a refreshing morning, a happy morning next day, that yes, I can do it. That was another thing. And what two pondering questions are there for my weekend? I'm going to ask my husband as well, that is your daughter safe with you? Safety is not physical, safety is mental. When you're mentally safe, definitely everything comes in place. So this is the weekend questions for me as well. So thank you so much. It's a very different thing what came into my mind. And most one again thing, there's so many, I mean, I can share, and I think a lot of parents have put praises for, I mean, they have takeaway. It's not praises, it's a lot of learnings that with child we are learning. When he or she is into some other profession, we can learn it. This is for us, and then we can contribute. Otherwise, it's listening and without any interest. So that is another thing that we can learn. Although we are into that age that we are into so many things, but as you have developed that habit of of the band and band of musicians which you have explored, learned for your daughter. So that's a really a great takeaway. So whatever that interest of a child will interest us, and automatically vice versa. Then I think they will also start getting involved, which interest us also. So it becomes a healthy discussion. And the last and the thing which I really want to appreciate and thank is the listener attitude. When you listen, they will listen to you. When you lend your ears, they will lend their ears. So, I mean, there are a lot of things I have noted down, but a morning with this, and I'm sure the event tomorrow is Father's Day, and since yesterday we are celebrating, the parents would have benefited a lot. So thank you so much, and thank you, Anila ma'am, for inviting Mr. Varghese on this platform, for sharing his insights, which is always a treat to us. So thank you, Mr. Varghese, and thank you, Alvin, for he's from our HO, organizing on the control panel. Thank you, Amrita ma'am. Thank you, Jason sir, and thank you, Lipi ma'am, for contributing in preparing the PPT and other arrangements. And thank you, Principal sir, for again helping us to organize this event and giving a lot of insights, not only for us but for the parents who have attended. Thank you, sir. So
yeah, maybe last word from myself, just to recap everything. A lot of takeaways for all of us, in fact, even including me. And I really want to thank Mr. Gio Varghese for being part of this wonderful family called GIS. At GIS, actually, we believe that it's a family where children are happy and safe. And you touched upon very, very important key words, key terms. To me personally, I always believe that our children are our reflections. so we are, so our children are. And in fact, yesterday my son was talking about it. We were talking about a fantastic family, a role model family. And my son said that they must have learned from their parents. So all credit goes to the parents. If your children are successful, more than successful, if your children are happy, you have done a great duty, as parents. So a wonderful, I think it's on the eve of Father's Day. It's fantastic session. And I really admire Gio Varghese for his insights. I think you are a fantastic person. And today we got to know you're a wonderful dad to your children. We wish, all of us become such wonderful dads. In fact, it's one of the most difficult thing in the present time. Let me tell you, parenting is very difficult, especially in this 21st century when our children are so hyper and they belong to the alpha generation. There's a huge gap. And today what you have given us, those insights are really going to be extremely helpful. Thank you, Gio, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so we can close now. Alvin?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, parents. Thank you, everybody.